Hey everybody, it's Kathy. Welcome to episode 17 of Mondays on the Mat. I'm coming to you live from my office/yoga room. I've got some co-hosts on either side of me here today, but they seem pretty chill, so I don't know if we're going to get to say hi to them today or not. But that being said, I'm really excited about today's episode, which is why alignment and engagement matter. And this was a topic that I had planned back for episode 9 that I ended up ditching to talk about what happened in Vegas because that was a really powerful moment and that needed to be sort of told right then and there. So I'm excited to be picking it up today, especially because last week in episode 16, I started to talk about alignment and engagement in relationship to wrist pain and how when we align and engage, we can start to prevent that pain in wrists during yoga or during asana time. So why does alignment and engagement even matter? You're going to hear a lot of teachers talk about that they are alignment-based teachers, but it's rare that you hear a teacher say, I'm an engagement-based teacher, or that I'm an alignment and engagement-based teacher, which I happen to be. So as we start to get into this today, if you have questions, comments, or you want a little bit more information, please put them right down there in the comment section so that I can respond to you. And even if you want to go a little bit off topic or even a lot big off topic, I'm feeling frisky today. So it would be totally fine with me if we ended up like swinging way in a different direction. But that being said, let's get into the heart of it today. Because there is one main reason why alignment and engagement matters. It really all boils down to this one thing. And I almost want like a little drum roll. Okay, there it is. The reason why it matters is because you have one body for the duration of this lifetime. It's really as simple as that. This is the one body that you get this lifetime. And while we can certainly order some replacement parts and go in there and make repairs, when that happens, that means you're on the sidelines sitting out for weeks to months at a time while your body heals from that, rather than being engaged in the things that you love to do, like yoga or running or hiking or dancing or whatever it is. And it's really that simple. But to give you a little bit more information, I'm going to add on to that. So last week in episode 16, we learned that alignment means your bones, aligning your bone or your skeleton system in whatever shape the yoga posture is asking you for. And then we follow that up with muscular engagement to maintain the alignment and also to get up out of it a little. So in yoga world, you'll hear something sometimes called root and rebound. And so that means that you press down into whatever is pressing into the floor and everything else lifts and rises up. And it's that lifting and rising that's considered the engagement, or sometimes it's a squeezing and hugging inward. And that holds the skeletal system into place. And now again, like, why does that matter? Well, because there's such a thing as repetitive stress injury. And we repeatedly do something slightly off over time, we can start to create injury and then get kicked out to the sidelines again. So here's a really great story I like to tell about why alignment matters, first of all. I used to live in a semi-rural area where people had a little bit of larger properties and many people had horses. And a couple neighbors down, they had built this horse shelter. It was just 4 posts and like a little covering so they could have shade when it was hot. And when it went up, you could tell that from the base that it wasn't set quite right, and so the whole shelter just leaned a tiny bit to the right. And then a couple months later, the whole shelter was leaning a little bit more to the right. And then a couple months later, the whole thing was leaning so far to the right that the next thing you know, it was gone. They had to take it down. And it's the same thing in our bodies. So maybe you slightly misalign or you slightly don't engage. Even more important, you don't engage your muscles. And so there's a little bit of pressure on your joints. But then over time, that little bit of pressure keeps adding and adding and adding and adding until finally you sustain an injury. So again, one body, this lifetime around anyway, want to try to prevent those injuries so that we can stay in the activities that we love so much. So here's a really great example in yoga. Sometimes there may be like a headstand or a shoulder stand where so all of the body weight is on the head or the neck and the shoulders. And so if you are perfectly aligned but you're not engaged, then all of your body weight is sinking down into the joints of your neck. And when you get out of a posture where you allow the weight of your body to sink down into the joints, when you come out, it feels like crap. It hurts, it's uncomfortable, and you just don't want to do it anymore. Because here's the thing. Our bones are supported by our muscles, but our muscles don't actually physically connect to the bone. They're connected by ligaments and tendons. So the muscles are connected by tendons, and then the joints are held together with tendons. And our muscles are designed to like stretch and return and stretch and return and stretch and return. Whereas our tendons and our ligaments, they really don't have very much stretch. And so if we are overstretching them, the tendons and the ligaments, that's going to be painful and cause things like tendonitis or get to the point where surgery is required to repair. We can pull a tendon or a ligament off of the bone, which is also incredibly painful and requires often surgery to reattach it to the bone. And so that again, it's that weight dropping down into joints that can cause those types of injuries. Or compression, or bone rubbing on bone, which is really painful and it wears out the cartilage in between your bones. So that's a little bit of an extended answer, but again, what it all really comes down to is the more we can bring attention to alignment and engagement, the better we feel in our body because we're more likely to prevent injuries. And when we feel better in our bodies, it frees up our mind to start to dive into the more of yoga. So here's another really interesting thing. When we're concentrating really deeply in a yoga class on properly aligning and engaging our body, it's sneakily teaching our mind how to concentrate. And again, when you've got a body that feels good and a mind that can concentrate, you can start to slide into these deeper, more subtle layers of yoga, the sort of this more stuff that you've heard promised about, how yoga can be so magical and life transforming. It happens through that portal of caring for the body in a way that teaches the mind to concentrate, but also frees up the mind to be able to move into the things that bring you joy and satisfaction, where you start to connect with your soul and start to live a life that is more centered and fulfilled from the place of your soul, rather than this constant striving of worrying about your physical body. Because the worry about your physical body is distracting your mind from the things that truly matter and from who you really are on the inside. So again, we got this long, winding, dancing answer why alignment and engagement matter. And it all comes down to this one physical body. And that the more you tend to it and care for it, conversely frees up your energy and frees up your mind to move into a deeper and more satisfying life experience. How cool is that, you guys? Like, how amazing is it that by showing up to yoga, taking deep care actually transforms you at a deep cellular level and a deep energetic level and a deep soul level? I love yoga so much. Oh my God, it's crazy. So that's the answer to why alignment and engagement matters. Keep showing up for your classes and doing the best that you can with the tools and experience that you have to find that alignment and engagement. And if you're in a class with a teacher where you feel like it isn't happening, I really encourage you to seek out the teachers who help you find it, because it is out there and it's available to you. I'll be teaching alignment and engagement based yoga all this week with group classes for women, Tuesdays 6:30 to 8, Wednesday 5:30 to 7, Friday 9:30 to 11, and Saturday 9 to 10 a.m. I also have one slot available for a private session if you'd rather work at your own pace or at something very meaningful to you. So that's it. Shoot me any more questions or comments that you have about yoga, and I will answer you live next time on Mondays on the Mat. Thanks so much for tuning in, and have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.